Razorback Nation, what is up? We are back with your Sunday afternoon Razor recap, brought to you by our friends over at Razor Pigs. Looking good, never felt so fun. Razor Pigs is the Arkansas-born brand, bringing some serious style to the golf course, tailgate, and everywhere in between. From high-quality hats to head-turning polos, they've got what you need to rep the natural state with pride. Found it right here at home and now run by a Razorback 11 family. Razor Pigs is where comfort meets cool, so go hog wild and shop Razor Pigs today at razorpigs.us and our friends over at Scarlet Letter, Arkansas's very own handcrafted spiked seltzer. You can check them out today. And if you are in Northwest Arkansas, check out the Core Brewery Tap Room, where you can get Scarlet Letter in all of its various flavors, as well as their new hard iced teas. Welcome in, everybody, to tonight's show. We got a packed show for you guys. We'll dive into Arkansas's loss at Auburn, cover that a little bit, talk Arkansas transfer portal, and we'll be doing a quick little Hog Talk segment with one of Arkansas's new faces, running back Sutton Smith, coming in from Memphis. Zane, how are you doing this Sunday afternoon?
No, I'm doing pretty good. We got in the midst of 5 days of playoff football in a row, so definitely enjoyable to kind of watch all this going on. So yeah, yesterday's basketball game didn't really go the way we were hoping, but still some positives to take away from it. But yeah, pretty good night so far. How about you?
Yeah, same here. Just another Sunday afternoon. As you can tell in our Thursday show, I was traveling, so I got back late Friday afternoon. So kind of just getting relaxed and ready for another week. But yeah, to your point, rough game last night. I'm glad to see that happen earlier in the season, though. Get something like that happen early. It's like Cal said,
for sure. And it's one of those where when you are as reliant on freshmen like we are, you kind of need that reality check in a sense every once in a while. And to your point, I am glad it happened early in conference play, but also it's just good to kind of see, hey, you're not as unstoppable as you think you are. But A-Cup kind of had just a mediocre game. Some shots weren't falling, but again, it was still a solid game. Malik Thomas had some good numbers. The big thing was Ewan had 12 boards. That was good to see. So there were still some positives to take away from it. The big thing is we had no answer for Keyshawn Hall, and our defense has struggled last couple games. So that's one that we kind of got to get figured out. So
yeah,
I mean, he had more than 32 points off 11 of 14. So that was kind of a rough to watch him go off.
Oh yeah, and we'll dive more into that here in a little bit. But it's like Cal said, not even going to watch this tape. That's not my team. So we're going to get back home, get back to it, and get ready for a tough matchup this week. But we'll dive into all that here in a little bit. But we'll go ahead and do our Hog Talk segment. Haven't had one of these in a little bit, but we're excited to welcome to the show new Arkansas running back Sutton Smith. Welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
Man, appreciate y'all having me, man. I'm blessed. I'm feeling good. I'm grateful to be a Hog. So that's just what's going on right now. Yeah, I'm feeling good about everything. So appreciate y'all again for having me for sure. And I'm grateful to be on the show.
That's awesome. And so just to get us started off, so walk us through, the quick process of, season ends for you. You go through the decision-making, decide to enter the transfer portal. How did all that work for you? And, how fast the process was that for you?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. It was a weird process, I'll say. It's kind of different from high school, but of course, Coach Silverfield's at Arkansas. But I wouldn't even say that I came here just for him. It's just like the rich history of the program. It was kind of like a dream offer coming out of the portal. I know a lot of good running backs came through here. I always grew up, watching Arkansas on the TV because, it was an SEC program. I grew up in Georgia, so, Georgia would play them, Bama. And they always had a great, solid program for sure. So it definitely intrigued me. Got on campus, man. It was beautiful, and it was just the right fit for me. And I feel like everything happened how it was supposed to. and God definitely blessed me to come here. So I'm just ready to get things going. But yeah, the portal was crazy. I had a few other options and everything, but ultimately I felt like it was the best fit here for me. So I'm ready to, contribute to the team and be the leader I can be.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, hey, we are definitely glad you're here. So
For
we'll
sure.
leave it. But yeah, so I was just kind of wondering, Arkansas has had a couple years where it's kind of been dicey and rough.
Yeah.
Um, you have obviously more experience with Coach Silverfield. What kind of like mentality and mindset is he going to bring like with the locker room and kind of will y'all approach games with?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, first off, I feel like he's gonna hold everybody accountable for sure. I feel like he's a player's coach. He gets guys going in the right direction. He kind of learns. He makes sure he knows, all the players, what works for them, how to coach them in certain ways. How he knows how to get guys going. But he's big on relationships as well, and that's another reason I wanted to come here and play for him, because I believe in what he does. I believe in his coaching philosophy. So I feel like he can get the program where it's supposed to be, because it's a big time program with a lot of great history. So yeah, that's kind of what it was for me for sure.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So kind of piggybacking off what Zane said, we hear this coach speak from Silverfield about, being
Yeah,
all in from a player's
yeah,
standpoint and, from a fan base. And for what does that mean when he tells his players and, whether it be a guy like you transferring in, being with him, or a new guy, from another school transferring in, or even some incoming freshmen, what is the all in mentality that he kind of brings and says, hey guys, let's come in, be all in and work hard?
yeah. So just being all in on the process and committed to being the best version of yourself every day. That's the small details, like showing up to the building with the right attitude, parking in the right spot, making sure you got the right gear on, dress of the day, treating people in the building with respect, just treating the program how it's supposed to be and not taking anything for granted, especially being at a program like this. And, just me just coming in with a dog mentality, I just hope that spreads through the locker room. We're able to, I can bring guys together so we can all achieve like a common goal. And that's ultimately to win. Like it's a business, it's no secret. Like it's a business driven, I mean, it's a winning, you know what I'm trying to say? It's a results driven business. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's no secret to it. Like we all want to win games. So I feel like, the all in mentality is just, getting a group of guys, getting them to believe in, what you're talking about, doing things the right way, and ultimately just receiving the results you want to do on game day. Because how I think about it, like something I could do tomorrow could help contribute to a win in September. You never know. So that's just kind of like the motto and the mentality of it for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely like that. So
For sure.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about once you decided to, you were going to visit Arkansas and you came and visited. What was your initial thoughts once you got on campus, taking tours, facilities, the stadium,
Yeah.
and everything? What were your initial
Yeah.
thoughts when you got
Good
up here?
question. Good question. I'm not gonna lie, I've never been to Arkansas, so I kind of got on campus. It kind of wowed me. It's kind of like it's a great college town. It's a lot to do. It's really nice. It's really nice. It's nicer than I expected. The facilities, the resources, and just like all the people I met were really nice and friendly and everything. So yeah, I got on campus. It pretty wild me. It's beautiful. So it felt like it could be home for me for sure. And then I got on campus. Of course, I knew Silverfield. I knew the offensive coordinator, but the running back coach David Johnson. He was really personable. I felt like I could be myself around him. So at the end of the day, with the portal and how college football is going, relationships they matter, but you want to find the best fit for you and where you can see yourself succeeding at. So just me coming into a running back room along with the guys in there, I feel like we'll like mesh, gel, mesh together well.
well, going back to earlier this season, whenever y'all played Arkansas,
Yeah.
is there any idea that hey, I'm gonna be playing for them next year?
That's crazy because I had a good game and somebody actually said like, man, what if you could, play for them next year? But it wasn't like serious or nothing like that because,
Yeah.
we was season, you want to focus, be loyal to your team. I was at Memphis 4 years and, it just all happens to, all the things that happen, coaching changes and everything. So it was just about that time. So yeah, it was just crazy how it happened for sure. But it was no thought about it. But it's a blessing to be here though. for sure. Because I had some older friends who went here and everything. They had nothing but good things to say about the program. And of course, everybody knows about the Hogs. So yeah, for sure. That's a good question though.
Yeah. So another question that's a fun question to think about and to get your perspective on it. So, there's a section of Memphis fans out there that kind of believed your relationship with Silverfield must have been a little rocky based on, the perceived quote unquote lack of usage while you're at Memphis. Obviously, you're here, Cardinal and white, rocking it. So, can you talk about, more on what brought you here and that relationship with Silverfield?
Yeah, my relationship. Yeah, I know a lot of people say that, but they don't know what goes on behind the scenes. You feel me? They don't know what goes on a day-to-day basis. They don't know. We had a great senior running back in Greg DeRosier. He came off an injury. He was trying to get going on too. So I can't speak too much on that, but they just don't know what goes on behind the scenes. Like Silverfield,
Right.
he just, I put it like this. He believed in me when nobody else did. I was out the whole 2024 season, I think it was, and just what happened on behind the scenes. A lot of people don't know about. But I mean, I'm here. He's here as well. So of course, we gotta have some type of good relationship. You know what I'm saying? And then it was in high school. He kind of recruited me before a lot of other big programs did as well. Because of course, Memphis was one of my first offers. I was committed. I stayed locked in, even with Power Five offers. But I'm just the type of dude. I guess bigger than me. I feel like everything happened for a reason, and no man can stop what God has planned. What if that happened for a reason? What if I'm not gonna get into too much into that, but just that's my perspective on it. Just
Yeah.
and especially at the running back position, you don't want to be just all the way used up, beat up before you get to the league. You know what I'm saying? That's the goal towards the end of the day. But just plain and simple, I got a good relationship with Coach for sure.
Awesome. Glad to address those rumors. So
You feel me? Yeah, me too. Cause I ain't even talked about it for real, just with the fans. But yeah.
Yeah. So one of the fans got a question. Our fan Transplant Texan said, Sutton, what style of running back would you consider yourself?
That's a great question. I'm gonna say every down back, slasher type back, Devon A Chain. I don't know if y'all remember him. He was at Texas A&M. That's kind of who I model my game after. I'm about like 190. I'm around like 195. So just I feel like I got good speed, good vision. Can stop on a dime, receiving, just the all around back. You know what I'm saying? I can just get the job done.
yeah.
That's kind of how I would describe myself as a back for sure.
Hey, I like that comp because as a Dolphins fan, I love watching HM play.
He's
So
productive.
I'll love to see that here at Arkansas.
He's productive.
So, you mentioned it earlier. What growing up SEC country, seeing Arkansas, it's fun to think about. Arkansas in coming here and having the rich history of running backs at Arkansas. Obviously, the man, one of the first ones you think of, Darren McFadden.
Sure.
And then a long list of, other guys, Jonathan Williams, and, are you just excited to join like a program that's been historically have a bunch of good running backs?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a blessing for sure. Cause my number 5, I know Darren McFadden with 5, so I'll see if that's my number here. But if it is, you know what I'm saying, that's a you feel me? So I gotta represent it with pride. For sure. And so that would be a blessing just to even wear that number because he's a legend out here. I went to a couple restaurants already, jersey hanging up on the wall. And I've been recently watching his highlights. I remember him on the Cowboys for sure. Yeah, he was a monster though. I respect his game even more now. And I know Peyton Hillis, he was on Madden.
Mm-hmm.
They told me he went here. I'm like, and they told me 3 of them was on the same team. So I
Yeah,
wasn't
it
even
was
Jones too.
it was McFadden, Felix Jones, and Payne Hillis, all 3 of them.
and I wasn't even tapped in for real. So now I'm tapped in. I know what I'm getting myself into. And that's just, extra motivation. That's just extra motivation.
Yeah. Another good question here is, did any current Razorbacks, not other Memphis transfers, play a role in helping you decide on Arkansas?
So people who were on Arkansas last year?
Yes.
I talked to Mike. He not current Razorback, but I talked to Mike Washington. I talked to receiver number 3. He from Arkansas, CJ Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I talked to them guys. That's all them. Yeah.
Yeah. And then another fun question here is, so from your perspective, don't know if you've gotten a chance to talk to him much, but how do you see the dynamic with you and Braylon Russell working out this season? Kind of some
Yeah,
lightning and thunder,
that's what I'm saying.
guys.
Yeah, I feel like that'll work out pretty well. I actually met him for the first time today. Just just me coming in. I got to feel the vibe and everything. But those guys were amazing because I'm a cool, humble dude. So for him to come up to me and introduce himself, that was good. So I see that working out very well. You need two, maybe even three running backs for a successful year. You know what I'm saying? So I just want the fans to know I'm not selfish at all. Like I'm a do it. I'm an ultimate team player. So I see that really going well. Just he a big body. We can get the job done. I can come in, do what I do. So it balances
Right.
itself out. It'll work out. It'll be fun to watch for sure. We go push each other. We go push each other.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
like
that's
you said.
awesome. I will say, so with what you were talking about earlier, like you said, you need two or three running backs. That's always definitely good, especially with your point of, helping at least conserve your body for the future as well. So do you? Sorry, the lights go out here off and on, but so do you think you're kind of the running back room's complete, or do you think that they're maybe planning on bringing another guy in as well, or just kind of, I don't know how much you know on all that right now.
Good question. I like where we are now because we got some young talented guys as well.
Yeah.
We got some another transfer too. I've been he got the good mindset. He from Michigan.
Mhm.
He's good as well. I know a lot of people, like big names and all that, but guys be ready to work for sure. So we focus on that right now. If they decide us to bring somebody, that's good too. But I like where the room is right now.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to have plenty of guys in there, especially with the gauntlet that is the SEC schedule.
Yeah.
Week in and week out, like it'll be good to just have a set of guys that keep
Yeah.
guys fresh.
Yeah.
All the playmaking ability. So
And you got Cam Settles too. He was highly touted out.
freshman this year, yeah.
It was bad. And TJ, the freshman, incoming true freshman, he there enrolled early. So yeah, it's good. It's good. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so what can Arkansas tell Arkansas fans what they can expect out of along with you, got a signal caller headed our way from Memphis too. What can Arkansas fans expect out of a guy like AJ Hill coming in too?
Yeah, from me, y'all can expect the guy who plays with a lot of passion. I'll say a hard worker, ultimate team player who will do anything for the team. So exciting player to watch. And I'm ready to just put that on display. And then with AJ, he's a big arm, talented, very talented, rare, good decision maker. So that'll be fun to watch at the quarterback position. KJ, you got KJ. You got the other transfer they have from I think he was like the D2 Heisman finalist. So just that's what I'm saying. Like iron sharp is iron, so it's good. We just put in this position and just by the time the fall hits, it'll be a finished product of just the work we gonna put in.
Yeah. And then so you mentioned Coach Silverfield being a guy that is big on accountability. So was the concept of players holding each other accountable kind of a part of that culture as well?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. You definitely want to hold guys accountable because that's how you have a team. And, a lot of people don't want to be, excuse my language, an asshole, but sometimes you got to do that, for your team. Even the coach got to be an asshole sometimes. You feel me? So that's what we need. We need him to coach us hard. We need him to coach us hard because, man, for sure, it can be one of them years, yes, sir.
Yeah. And so talk to Arkansas fans a little bit about what can they expect with a Tim Cramsey offense.
Yeah, you can expect a very versatile offense. He does a lot of things. I could say, Petrino was good too, but he does a lot of things. I can't wait to see his approach this year because I don't want to compare it too much to Memphis. He might have a different approach this year, but it's a fun offense to watch. I know he lines the back up everywhere. He gets guys in space. He gets playmakers in space. He wants to create explosives. So that's kind of our goal, and we got a lot of big boys up front who can do the job as well.
Yeah, I know that's a big proponent. I know Silverfield said at one time, instead of necessarily, getting guys to fit, your offense, you kind of tailor your offense around the guys that you got. And, I love that mentality. That's fantastic. Great way for a coach to be adaptable. Be like, hey, I've got a lot of talented guys on this squad. It may be different from what I had last year, but, there's still a lot of talent here. Let's utilize it how we can instead of, maybe running some guys off just because, hey, they don't fit my system. So, that type of mentality. So I love to see that, and can't wait to see what this offense is going to look like next year too.
Oh yeah. Me neither. I'm just as excited as you. But I'm gonna make sure I'm doing everything I can every day to, have success for the program.
Yeah. So you said you've been in Fayetteville for, give or take a week or so. So have you tried any good food spots, while you've been here or on your visit, anything like that?
Yeah. I think it was like JJ's on Dixon Street. That was like one of the places they told me to go. So I went there like the other day. It was real good. I had some, I think it was like fried chicken tacos, something like that. So yeah, that's the one that comes up to mind right now. And I had Waffle House this morning. That's normal though, but it was still good.
No, JJ's is it's a go-to place. It's pretty solid.
Yeah, it was fun. It was nice.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to tell you to go check out Wright's Barbecue. Being from Memphis, you might already have an idea of some barbecue, but best in Northwest Arkansas. Wright's
Barbecue. Okay, cool. For sure.
It's fantastic.
All right, bet. I'm going to get back with y'all and give y'all a review.
I was about to say, you have to let us know.
All right, bet. I got you.
But as we get, ready to wrap up here and, let you go, anything else, you want to let Razorback fans know about you, or anything like that? Any thoughts for, just Fayetteville or expectations you have for yourself or anything like that?
I'm not a guy to say too much. I don't know. I feel like before I was even here, I felt like I genuinely felt the love and just the energy of the place. And just ever since I've been here, people, have treated me the right way. So it's just an honor to be here. And I'm happy I could get on the show and just tell everybody that. And, just keep looking forward to the year. I feel like it would be great. I just want to speak that into existence.
Well, hey, we appreciate you coming on the show. You're welcome back anytime. And hey, we can't wait to get started. I know, there's another probably 6 more days left of the portal, and then kind of that gets wrapped up. As you mentioned, classes are going to start back. Kids are early enrolling. You can get to working on some weight room in the spring ball, and kind of get this new era of Razorback football started. And I think Arkansas is very excited for it, and we're glad to have you here.
Man, I appreciate that. Yes, sir.
So, as we wrap up here, we appreciate you jumping on. Look forward to what this next year holds, and best of luck to you. And can't wait to be in Razorback Stadium having the hog call on Saturdays in the fall. So,
no, for real. Thank you for having me, man. I'll be, checking on the show as well. I'll probably be watching.
We appreciate it.
it.
And again, thank you for your time. And, we'll see you whenever we decide to have you on next. So,
yes, sir. Appreciate you. I'll talk soon.
Yep. Sounds good.
See you.
So that was Sutton Smith, new running back for Arkansas. Great information and feedback that we got from him and going through this interview. Very positive mindset. I think he's excited. I think that kind of is telling on, what type of program Silverfield's going to build. And the fact that, they talked about how, it's a full running back room, but he's not worried. He doesn't care. So I'm excited. I think that interview just helps kind of solidify that kind of question mark on how we feel about Silverfield and going into next season.
Yeah. And, like his mindset of, hey, like the team player, do what you can, and having that room instead of just, I want every single carry. That's part of that all-in mentality and also bigger picture.
Right.
Love that maturity and love that outlook on it all.
100%. So, glad to have him jump on with us. It's, I can't wait to see what he's going to do come the fall. Like you said, it'll be fun to see if he dons the number 5 coming this fall. So it's going to be fun. It's like Transplant Texan said here, accountability. Haven't seen that from the staff or players in a few years. So it'll be a nice change of pace for Arkansas. And like you said, I can't wait to see what this offense is going to do on the Cramsey, the way he likes to do a few different things. So that'll be fun. And we'll dive in here a little bit more about some other additional transfer portal additions that Arkansas got yesterday, since we had the show last on Thursday. But as much as I don't want to, we got to talk about this basketball game last night. We talked about it a little bit at the start of the show, but Arkansas goes on the road to Auburn and wasn't great. Arkansas loses 95-73. It was just an off night. It's like Cal said in his post-game interview. He said, "That's not my team. I'm not even going to watch the tape. We're going to get back to it and get ready for the next game." And, I mean, yeah, you look at just the game, the box score, uncharacteristic night for Arkansas in general.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the problem is, like, looking at, like, the shooting, like, the splits, 43% from the field. Like, we've had worse games, but, like, looking at, like, the team stats, like, the overall picture, it's like, okay, how did we lose as badly as we did? I mean, you still shot 38% from three. That's still respectable. It's still a decent shooting night. But,
Right.
I think the big thing that killed us was the turnovers and also just the points in the paint. We couldn't finish in the paint. Or not, we couldn't finish, but we couldn't stop them in the paint either. And, it's one of those where it was almost just perfect recipe for a game. I said Thursday, Keyshawn Hall was going to be tough to stop. He had 32 with 5 and, 11 and 14 from the field. I think 4 or 5 from 3, 6 of 6 from the free throw line. Like, the dude was on fire. You saw that in the first 3 or 4 minutes. He hit a couple big shots. And I just kind of, at that point, I was just like, okay, like, it's a tough place to play. And just rough game from the get-go. So, that's obviously, I do like with Cal, hey, that's on my team. But at the same time, I think, hey, you kind of got to circle back and say, hey, you can't let a guy like this go off. How do we address it? Yeah, obviously he's still going to watch the film probably, even though he said he's not. Because you got to identify, hey, how to get out of hand and address it from there. And it was just one of those, I think we came in maybe overlooking them and obviously bit us in the butt. So
Right. Well, and it's like we even talked about it on Thursday, how, they play the same style and tempo of game that we do. They're right up there with us in fast break points. And like you mentioned, it was all going to be about how Keyshawn Hall came out and, performed. He was averaging 20.9 points a game, coming into the game and, lived up to the hype so far, dropping 30 last night. I think the big one to me is, he dropped 30 points, but 4 of 5 from 3. Like, it from the get-go, it's like the announcers were talking about, Auburn, got the first punch in and just didn't let up. And
it didn't help that Knox got hurt and, we were down one of our wings that can guard him. The personnel matchups that would have, I feel, just kind of like the way they played would have guarded him the best would be Knox, Richmond, and Brazil. And obviously Knox going down, that hurts. That automatically puts you down a guy that can consistently guard him. And it was just, I don't think it would have even mattered because, he was hitting shots left and right with hands in the face and everything. So
right.
I hate to say that, but it was one of those, I don't know what we could have done to stop him. So
right. And it's one of those games where it's like, it just seemed like everything was clicking right for them. And for us, even for us, it, you look at some of the stats and, we still shot 38% from 3, 43% from the field, 71 from the free throw line. And if they don't have a kind of out of this world stats game, then, this could have been a closer game. Arkansas maybe potentially pulls it out, but it's like Transplant Texans said, and, we talked about Hawgs were shooting in the 30s. Auburn was shooting in the 50s. Hawks couldn't.
That's the thing. It wasn't even as much as like shots weren't falling for us. It was just they weren't missing, and they came in. They came out like a chip on their shoulder. They were 0-2 in conference, back against the wall type thing, and so I can see that where, it was kind of like Arkansas, Kentucky last year, backs against the wall. We kind of had to have that turnaround,
especially them coming off that game against A&M where. they kind of got that taken away from them in an aspect, depending on which side of the fence you fall on there. But, Transplant Texas said whole team kind of looked jet lagged. Do you think back-to-back road games took their toll? Could that have been a little bit of what happened?
Maybe so. Yeah, I think maybe so, but I also feel like, the way Acuff has played lately, he was almost due for a
it's like tough to even say a subpar game because he still had 19 points. It's like the thing that's
crazy is we're still like, he didn't do what he's been doing the last few games, but he still had a good stat line.
Right.
But it was one of those, I think that atmosphere kind of got to the team as a whole. Because, there was one where it was pretty early. They went after a timeout, they went on a 6-0 run. And you could tell we were just like, I don't know what to do. And it was almost like, okay, this is one of those games where you have to learn from it, but it's also going to help you in the long run. So, I'm not too worried about us after that game. Like Al says, not his team, whatever. Big picture, still not too worried. Yeah, it'd be great to start 3-0, but obviously, if we had to lose, I would rather not be that kind of loss. But in the long run, in the big picture, it might be good because it's not like, oh, well, you were still right there. It was, no, you kind of got your butts handed to you. Like, you got to make sure you take every game seriously and focus because, yeah, SEC is not as strong as they were last year as a conference, but there's still a lot of good teams and anyone can beat anyone.
Right.
So it's one of those, you got to respect your opponent and don't go in overlooking anyone. I think this was kind of a big factor of just I feel Cal knows, hey, you can't go in overlooking people. But the way we've played lately, maybe there was some overlooking, and now you can just go, hey, see what happens when you overlook people and, learn from it and move on.
And you kind of read my mind there with that, in this league, like you said, SEC is not as deep as what they were, say, last year, but still anybody can beat anybody. And, I think this will be a good humbling experience for this team, especially these young freshmen, and a guy like Acuff, like we said, we call it subpar night, but still had 19 points, shot 7 of 16 from the field, 2 of 6 from deep, 3 of 3 from the line, 1 rebound, 1 assist. And that's one thing that I think maybe threw the game off, and even the announcers were talking about it. He wasn't getting the assists he normally got, one tonight where he usually averages 5, 6, 7 a game.
Yeah.
In 35 minutes he played and was a minus 30 in the plus and minus. So that kind of just tells you
that's almost one where you feel, hey, have we become almost too reliant on him last few weeks?
Yeah.
To get us in the crunch time situations. Hey, it's one of those, we know what he's capable of, but we don't need to just rely on him alone every game. So also, I think big picture, kind of how we approach things as a team, this may be for the best because, hey, he's going to probably have a night where he's not all SEC caliber playing.
Right.
And you got to have the rest of the guys step up.
Yeah.
So, and Malik did good. I mean, Malik had some good numbers, kind of that step up, but, it was just team as a whole just kind of struggled on that one. But, I mean, kind of like what I was saying with anyone can beat anyone. I mean, Texas was 0-2 at Alabama and pulled out a win. And it's like, okay, yeah, that is just anyone beats anyone, and that's just one that, you got to have your head on straight and not overlook anyone at all because I sound like broken records. I just said that. But, I mean, it's a grind. It's a tough 18-game stretch. So, definitely got to have your all every single game.
100%. Yeah. And, other guys you mentioned, Malik Thomas finished his game 17 points, 6 of 12 from the field, 3 of 6 shooting, 2 of 3 from the line. 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Then you had Malik Ewan 13 points, Trevor Brazil 12 points. One thing that we got to talk about is, you mentioned it too, is Carter Knox, getting hurt, didn't play a lot in the second half. They described it as a hip pointer type injury, something that, we talked about and looked it up before the show about, it's an injury that's more of
normally for a full
2 to 4
recovery.
weeks. It's
So
an aggravation type of injury.
yeah, I don't think he'll be. Obviously, I don't know. This is just my speculation. I don't think he'll be. He might miss the next game, but other than like the very next game, I think he might just kind of be a limited minutes, may not start, make him off the bench, kind of just I think game planning, you're not really gonna. I don't think coach will really expect him to be a huge part of the game plan for the next couple of weeks until he gets closer to 100%. But I mean, Knox is at his best when he's catch and shoot from three.
Right.
Like his percentage last year, I forgot what it was, but his catch and shoot percentage last year was fantastic. So it's like almost like, okay, maybe bring you back to that. Maybe get him more comfortable. You know, we've seen some good games from him, but we've also seen some games where he may have forced some shots or shots weren't falling. So maybe this aggravating injury is a way to kind of, hey, get back to what you're good at from last year. Not saying he needs to, you know, dial back, but I'm just saying the thing that really helped us in the tournament last year, do that. And so it's just one of those, you know, it'll be interesting to see how Cal utilizes him and how kind of his role is next couple of weeks as he kind of recovers from this fully.
Yeah. And that brings up another point to think about that we were talking about before the show too, is it's like, all right, if he's due to miss some time, it's like, what are you going to look at now? Your rotation and starting lineup, as you know, he was a key piece of that. And we talked a little bit about, all right, do you go forward, you know, coming out big with, you know, sliding Ewan in to start alongside Pringle, come out with a big type lineup.
Ewan's been solid of late. I mean, he had 13 and 12 with Auburn. He's been pretty solid of late. So, you know, I know some past shows we've seen comments, people wondering if Pringle is going to get replaced in the starting lineup by Ewan. Well, here's your chance to kind of keep Pringle in the starting lineup and still start Ewan and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
So, then, you know, it'll be interesting.
And then you can go the other route of, instead of Ewan, you call on Billy to come in, and you know he's been typically a guy off the bench, energy type of guy, along with Malik Thomas. But you know he's a veteran guy that you call on him to step up in the meantime while Carter's out as well.
Yeah, and obviously you know you could still call on Malik to be a starter. I think realistically, what you're looking at is, I'd almost say that you think Malik would be the other starter. Just because Billy's so high energy that bringing him off the bench is very, I mean, he provides a really good boost. And also, you know, with Brazil playing that stretch four a lot, it's good to have Ewan rested when Pringle comes out and have them, you know, not on the court at the same time, just because I feel like it can slow the offense down as well, just having two true posts in there. But I just think that, you know, Cal would rather rest one while playing the other and kind of utilize them that way. So if I had to guess, I'd say Malik Thomas would be the fifth starter until Knox is back in a starting level health.
Yeah, in that capacity. So think about it too is, do you see those minutes from Carter, if he sits a game or two, getting pushed to somebody else, or does this rotation just shorten? Do you see a little bit, maybe does Sealy get a little bit of extra extended playing time? Or
I see a mix of both. So I see Sealy gets, you know, 5 to 10 minutes a game. He's not going to throw him into, it's not like he's going to give Billy Knox's minutes and then Sealy's going to jump right in and take Billy's amount of minutes. But I think Sealy, you know, he'll get 5 to 10, maybe up to 15, depending on how he performs. But I think you'll see Ewan and Pringle maybe have a little bit more minutes.
Yeah, because you look at it,
just
Pringle
because I feel like
last night.
Yeah, I feel like it's, I'm trying to think how to explain it. Whenever we decide to go quote small and have Brazil at the 5, Knox at the 4, I think he just may not be utilizing that as much. And when he
Yeah.
does, that would be maybe where Sealy would step in, or just, still limit those. But also, I think that I just think like with the SEC being as physical as it is, you got to have one of those two on the court almost at all times.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but I see a hybrid. I see everyone getting a little boost in minutes, as well as Sealy getting some playing time. And hey, if Sealy does great, cool. Knox is back. You now have a 9-man rotation. You have a little bit more experience for your next guy up.
100%.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah. So going forward, looking at it, obviously, again, anybody can beat anybody, but you're not too worried about the game, in my opinion, on Wednesday against South Carolina at home. Come back, get some good practice in, take care of business there. Then those next two games after that, you got a road game and a home game. Georgia is going to be tough. And then one of the biggest ones that you're probably going to circle, at least for now, is that game against Vanderbilt. We talked about it the other day. We said, hey, maybe they haven't played anybody, getting a little overhyped. And then what do? They just turn around and beat Alabama in conference play. And you're like, okay, wait a minute. Maybe they could be for real. So that's going to be a fun test for this
Bama losing to Texas didn't really help Vandy's case, though, is the thing.
True.
So it's like, okay. Georgia, that's going to be a very high-scoring game. I mean, both teams push the tempo. It's going to be up there on the points. I got a feeling. I agree. As much as we're saying, hey, don't overlook anyone, and that's kind of what bit us in the butt yesterday, I'm not too worried about South Carolina just with their roster makeup. But again, I think it's actually maybe even good that we lost this one just because, hey, you don't want to lose 2 in a row going into a road game against a top 25 team. So it's...
And I'm sure those players from last year can tell you all too well about how an 0-5 in the start in conference play feels. Yes, you're 2-1, but it's like, hey, guys, let's not let this kind of put us on a slide. Let's come back, get back on track, and go forward.
For sure. So, no, it'll be interesting to see kind of how the rotation goes moving forward. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I think we have a bounce back, and I think we're going to be able to handle South Carolina hopefully pretty well.
Yeah.
Also back at home, which helps, obviously.
Exactly. So Wednesday night, let's take a quick look at South Carolina. 10-6 on the season. Conference play, they are 1-2. Losses to Vanderbilt and Georgia, both at home. 1 road win against LSU. Obviously, the guy for them that you got to talk about, Michi Johnson, comes back this year. Their leading scorer, leading guy in minutes, 30.3 minutes a game, 13.8 points a game, 3.4 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 1.3 steals, shoots 41% from the field, 76% from the line, and 33% from deep. He leads in all categories except rebounds and rebounds and blocks. So clearly, do-it-all guy. He's a guard. This will be a good test for Darius bounce back against, another top guard in the SEC.
Sure. The thing I don't like to see is they do have 4 guys averaging 10-plus points. So they are balanced. It's not like you have a Keyshawn Hall who's taking all your points. They're very balanced, which makes it almost harder to guard as a defense. But yeah, that'll be one. They're going to distribute the ball well. So, we'll see how they are. But looking on the season, there's not really anything where I'm like, oh, that's going to be a problem for us. Which is why I feel almost a little bit more comfortable with it. Like, for example, Tennessee, they offensive rebound super well. We don't. That was the big concern for me. I don't see anything in the stats that's like, okay, this is what's going to be tough for us. So, yeah, it'll be a good game, though.
I'll be interested to look at the matchup for their second leading scorer. Mike, I don't even know how to pronounce Shara Vijamance from Mongolia. He's listed as a guard, but he is 6'9", 195, leads them in rebounds and blocks.
From Mongolia.
So that could be another matchup type problem. that, if they are playing him in a guard type spot, he's going to be a bigger guard that again, this is where you'd kind of like to have a guy like Carter Knox to match up with a guy like this. This is maybe where a lengthy Malik Thomas or a Billy can use their athleticism to match up with a guy like this. But that's the only thing that I'm interested to see matchup wise what Cal does.
Yeah, that'll be one I think it'll be interesting to see for sure. But yeah, list him as a guard. I'm like, okay, it's kind of a big guard.
I was about to say he's listed as a guard and he's bigger than your leading forward that's 6'8". So,
oh boy.
But yeah, so come in again. I'll take our guards against anybody, but last night was weird. Keyshawn Hall just had a night. I mean, when guys do that, there's just nothing you can do.
There wasn't much we were going to be able to do on that one. I mean, it's not like it was bad defense. Right. But again,
like you said, he was making them with hands in his faces. So, when guys are having those type of nights, there's nothing really you can do. So, it's like Cal said, you said he'll probably still watch it, but in terms of the team, burn the tape, move on. Let's get back to it at home.
For sure.
After back-to-back road games, it'll be nice for them to come back into Bud Walton. Have a great crowd Wednesday night, kind of like you did against Tennessee in the SEC opener. Bring the energy, and it'll be a fun one. It is another late start, 8 o'clock on Wednesday. So for sure. Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, Arkansas will take on South Carolina as they come back home, and then Saturday they'll hit the road and play Georgia at 3 o'clock. So. As we jump over and talk some Arkansas transfer portal, Arkansas continued to bring in some guys. The count is up to 32 portal additions now. And, since we talked last, Arkansas has had some additions in the quarterback room. You have added Braden Fuller, the D2 guy that, Sutton had mentioned from Angelo State. Great numbers in D2 ball. It'll be some good competition, maybe running some scout team type of situation in, for Arkansas, as, we're assuming here, but, the quarterback battle more than likely is going to be KJ and AJ. So, I mean, and then, of course, we found out yesterday Arkansas's fourth quarterback is going to be a guy that's going to enroll in May, Fayetteville's very own Hank Hendricks, who's a 4-star kid in the 2027 class that is going to be reclassifying into 2026 and enrolling in May. So, you've got your quarterback room kind of filled there. They might bring in one more guy, not 100% there, but, you kind of got a nice, 4-deep quarterback room for next season. Yeah.
So I think, if I had to guess, I'd say, quarterback room's probably full at this point.
Yeah.
I don't really see bringing in another guy.
Yeah.
So.
And you jump over to receivers. Arkansas got the big commitment today. Chris Marshall from Boise State is headed to Arkansas. He is a former 5-star guy, started his career at Texas A&M, has bounced around Ole Miss, and then Boise State last year. Brings in, a spot that Arkansas needed, and he's a big body type of guy. And one of those bigger
211.
Yeah, one of those bigger outside type of receivers that you can use that, that we're missing. So, and then I think we mentioned it the other night. We also are bringing in Donovan Fapel from New Mexico State. So, we know about how New Mexico State products perform. So if we can kind of hit gold like we did on Mike Washington with this guy, then
for sure,
your wide receiver room is filling out pretty well. Couple of tight end additions. I know we mentioned the other day Matt Adcock from Memphis is coming over, and then you got a commit from Ty Lockwood from Boston College. Previously, before that at Alabama, was a really highly recruited guy. Didn't have a ton of playing time last year at Boston College, but will come in and give a good depth and competition to this tight end room. Obviously, Jaden Platt's back. He's probably going to be your starter, but you're going to have a rotation with some of the other guys. Maddox last year, your gadget guy. Gavin Garrettson, freshman from last year, and then, of course, those two guys that I just mentioned. The big one the other night, offensive line, Bryant Williams coming in from Louisiana. We got that commitment the other night right as during the show or right after or maybe right before, but a big-time offensive lineman, the number 6 offensive lineman in the transfer portal committed. That's big for Arkansas to have a guy like him coming in and just bring not only depth and but also competition to this, offensive line room, which, we lost a handful of guys, so it'll be good to have that depth as well. We got the announcement Cam Settles is coming back. Freshman running back from last year, David Oki on the defensive line is coming back. So you got some depth. Your defensive line is filling out pretty well with your returners as well as what you got coming in. Linebackers, you got a full house in linebackers now. We talked about some of these other guys, Steven Souls, Kamori House. Yeah. 2 guys from Baylor with Phoenix Jackson and Jeremy Evans. And then you got a commitment today from Ben Bogle coming over from West Virginia, another guy that'll be a great depth piece. So,
for sure.
This roster is really starting to, come into form. I like what we've done. I like what I've seen. It's going to be fun to see what they do the rest of this week during the portal. Because as we know, we've still got this week and it'll close up on Friday. And then we can kind of know for sure, all right, here's your guys. And then we can start analyzing and looking at depth charts and things like that. And then, like they said, I think 12 out of our 17 commits in the freshman class are enrolling early. As Sutton alluded to earlier, TJ Hodges, the running back from Bryant, is enrolling early, so he'll be here. Those guys will get to start spring practice, kind of start, hitting the weight room, working on offense, learning new playbook and scheming. So, with what they've done so far, I think it's, right at or maybe exceeds some expectations from, what Arkansas fans thought.
Yeah, could do. If you look at On3 for their transfer team rankings, now, right, this was updated 8:15, so literally 19 minutes ago. It has us at 17th ranked transfer class in the country. It is 9th in the SEC, but still 17th in the country. Are we done? Who knows? I don't think so. But yeah, the 2 teams ahead of you are Oklahoma, Tennessee. 2 teams behind you are Florida, Missouri. So we're right there in that kind of group. Definitely like that. But yeah, so at least in terms of the rankings on it, where it's at least kind of, it's a pretty respectable transfer class we've brought together so far. So definitely good to see that.
And I would not be surprised to see another, 10 or so additions. Silverfield, this is what he does. You saw it last year at Memphis, 70 new players. So, this isn't uncommon for him, and especially for, him coming into a new job and having to kind of rebuild the program. It wouldn't be surprising to see him add 10 more on top of, I think the big thing is keeping some of that top talent here. You've seen a handful of guys enter the portal and decide to come back and stay. So, I think that shows that they're buying into what he's kind of building here, what he's kind of talking to these players about, and, seeing guys that are committing, being like, okay, wait a minute, I'm going to stay and be part of something that's being built. So it'll be fun. I'm excited to see what happens this week. And then, we can kind of get a final idea on roster after that, and then see what spring practice holds for us. So,
yes, sir.
With that, we'll get ready to wrap up. Arkansas back in action on Wednesday for basketball. Baseball, before you know it, just about a month out. Hobbs will be joining us in the next week or so to start talking about baseball, start previewing that as Arkansas open up the season second weekend of February down in Arlington. So as we get ready to wrap up here, you got anything else before we get out of here?
Woo pig, always.
Couldn't have said it better.
Even after the loss yesterday, woo pig always.
Exactly, ride or die. The roller coaster is one that I'll be
Heart attack Hawgs.
on for the rest of my life. So,
yeah, I signed up for this. I know I'm getting myself into. We're good.
I was about to say, and you got to think about all the kids that are being raised in this too. May not be fair, but
hey, you know what? It teaches you life isn't fair, and you gotta persevere. So
exactly. So, as we wrap up here, don't forget to like and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast. On YouTube, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. That way you don't miss any time we go live and our fantastic interviews that we'll do from now and again, like tonight with Sutton Smith. I'll go on and in the next few days get that posted separately so you can go on and watch that as well. We again thank him for coming on and spending some time with us and letting Razorback fans get to know him. But with that, everybody finish up your Sunday evening, get ready for the week, and we will see you guys on Thursday as we'll recap the Arkansas South Carolina game and get into all things Arkansas football and transfer portal and what happens between now and then. So from Zane, myself, we're going to wrap up and get out of here. So we'll see you guys on Thursday.